Pinstriped Trip. It's basically an eccentric comedy about tigers and lions running around on a cruise ship full of passengers, and the monkey presented to the team opened the cages and released the predators onto the deck. Now, of course, there are misconceptions about the fight scene between the lion and the tiger, so we have some claims to refute. First claim, the tiger was a female. I'm not sure why tiger fans call this big Siberian tiger a female, because just by looking at its robusticity and long facial hairs and its overall very large stocky body are undoubtedly a trait of a male. Also, I didn't know females had testicles. Second claim, the lion wasn't toothless. Now, there's also a claim that lion fans made that the lion was completely toothless, which is false, because as we can see here, we can identify the canines, incisors, and premolars. Being toothless is having a full absence of teeth, meaning not a single tooth should be present inside the mouth at all. But lion fans weren't completely wrong though. Upon further inspection, if we look at the lower jaw, we can identify the lower canines are missing, meaning they were removed because when the lion opened its mouth to show off its teeth, in this frame, we can clearly make out the clear definition of sharpness of the upper canine, but the bottom canine doesn't have that same sharp definition like the top. Because last time I checked, canines are far more noticeable and definitely on the same height as incisors. So this male lion actually lost his bottom canines, which would automatically put him at a huge disadvantage because he doesn't have his full arsenal of weapons, instantly making this fight unfair to begin with. Third claim, the tiger was the one who was toothless. Very false. Well, for one, the tiger was in no position to even see the entirety of its mouth. It's rather bold and dumb to even claim it was toothless without actually seeing inside the mouth. So I see this as an excuse, since lion fans said the lion was toothless, which we already established the lion's canines were removed undoubtedly. Even so, we literally get a quick glimpse of the tiger having its bottom canine, so how is this tiger toothless again? Regardless of that pointless claim, the entirety of all the tigers running around the cruise ship or whatever the case may be, none of those tigers were defanged. Throughout the whole movie, every single tiger that I've seen, none of them were defanged. And since this film was more tiger friendly and the tiger in the scene was supposed to win by the looks of it wouldn't make sense to defang it, and I've already proven that it had canines. Well, at least one at least. So the tiger definitely wasn't toothless as tiger fans exaggerated. Fourth claim. Tiger fans claim this as a fight. Again, false. This wasn't a fight to begin with. Even if we exclude the lion not having its bottom canine, by watching the fight scene itself, the lion clearly wasn't interested to begin with. He showed little to no efforts of retaliation, and what's even stranger is that this is a black-maned lion, which are healthy specimens, and not only that, the most aggressive. So seeing this black-maned lion not put up a fight in the slightest while the tiger was the one attacking the lion would technically be called an assault. An assault by definition is an act of inflicting physical harm or unwanted physical contact upon a person, or in this case an animal. Clearly this lion doesn't want any part of this and was obviously forced to fight. And again, what's weird is that it didn't retaliate. I've literally covered a fight that happened in a Russian circus between a subadult lion and an adult tiger, which you can go check out, by the way, link in the description. The tiger was the one who ambushed the unsuspecting lion, and the adult tiger was the one retreating from the subadult lion. Think about that. And guess what? This young, inexperienced, blonde-maned lion pursued the tiger to prolong the fight. So to see a black maned lion like this not wanting to fight is rather confusing and is definitely something worth looking into. Fifth claim. The lion was drugged or took pills. Again, False. There weren't any external sources that suggest such a thing. The only site I found on that subject was from Wikipedia, which isn't the most reliable source. I still don't trust it. It was the only other source that mentioned it. So in a nutshell, they basically needed a scene with the ship's crew carrying a sleeping lion. So that's basically where the whole concept of the whole sleeping pill excuse originated from. In an earlier scene, we see a lion licking what seems to be pills, which I'd assume would be the sleeping pills for that particular scene. Let me clarify some things. Number one, the lion in the fight scene at the end of the movie with the tiger was not the one who was given sleeping pills. It was this lion. Secondly, both lion and tiger fans tend to mix this up as the same lion, and in the process of some of their arguments tend to contradict themselves. These are two different lions. Tiger fans argue this is the same lion that fought the tiger in the ending of the movie to prove the point of it having canines, which is false. Clearly, this lion doesn't have a mane extending throughout the underbelly, instantly proving this claim that these two lions are the same. But this lion was the one who was given pills, not this lion. Sixth claim, the footage wasn't edited. I'm not even sure how to approach this claim, because first of all, this is a movie. A single shot for a movie will be bound to be edited or manipulated to try and give the scene a sense of value or to make it more dramatic. It also makes the audience more enticed in that particular scene. Every scene must capture the audience's attention. So this was quite a ridiculous claim because it is evidently clear. You can see that at the very beginning of the encounter, the tiger was already in the process of motion and was already on top of the lion, which already entails we didn't see the actual beginning. Secondly, during the actual encounter, you can literally just see the footage just cut to a different scene. So it starts off with the tiger already in motion delivering paw swipes to the lion's head, where the mane is located. So it's evidently clear that the tiger was the aggressor, and the lion throws one half-hearted paw swipe and loses its footing along with the tiger literally on top of him, made him fall back. But for some odd reason he wasn't interested and turned away from the impending danger right in front of him. Now usually the average lion would retaliate, but for some odd reason he wasn't interested and turned away from the impending danger right in front of him. The tiger continues his onslaught and lands a decisive blow square on the lion's scapula or shoulder, but clearly wasn't effective as the tiger only grabbed the mane and did no real damage. Also, the lion that time threw another half-hearted paw swipe with no real intentional force behind it. Then the video cuts abruptly to the tiger running away. Now there's a lot of things to unpack here. Well, for one, should this encounter be taken seriously? And does it prove anything? To answer the first question, no. It shouldn't be taken seriously, because it's evidently clear one of the animals, which was the lion, was clearly put at a disadvantage, along with not retaliating and simply took abuse from the tiger. So this isn't a full-fledged fight. And to top it all off, the video was repeatedly cut and repeated scenes and was also manipulated, because we didn't even get to see the beginning of the actual encounter. To answer the second question, does this video prove anything? No, it doesn't. The lion was clearly uninterested throughout the entirety of the assault and was at a big disadvantage because it didn't have its full arsenal of weapons. You can't go off trying to establish something, trying to prove a point when it's clearly tainted, and what I mean by that is that it was unfair. If the encounter was fair and both retaliated and both were motivated to take each other one while not being handicapped, then you'd establish something. So it's rather pointless to prove a point on who's superior with unfair fights. It's ridiculous. It's like a constant circle of lies. Now here's the strange thing about this encounter. If you take a look inside of the lion's mouth, it's very bloody. Now, when you look at the fight, you realize the tiger was striking on top of the head and the side of the mane throughout the entire fight. The tiger didn't strike anywhere near the mouth to make it bleed like that. And it's not to say the tiger made it bleed at the end or anything, because the lion's mouth was already bleeding from the very beginning. Now the question is, what caused the lion's mouth to bleed, or at least have blood in its mouth? The tiger seen here didn't do it, and the lion definitely didn't bite the tiger. So how? Now there weren't any alternative sources to give such information, but we can definitely safely assume the lion definitely had an activity that involves blood. Now from here on out, this is simply my opinion and it's just a theory, but I think the lion had a fight just prior to this, because that blood looks very fresh. So what I think happened is that the lion had a fight with another tiger prior to this one and severely injured it, causing it to draw blood. which would make sense for the lion to have blood in its mouth. And this fight would have seemed easy because if you look at the lion's body, there isn't any fresh scars or injuries on him at all. Even at the end of this encounter, with the tiger being the aggressor doing all the damage it possibly can, still, the lion didn't get any serious injuries, if you didn't notice. So that's why I think the fight it had prior to this one wasn't to the producer's liking, or was either too fast and purposefully took the bottom tooth out and not given any rest, was immediately forced to fight this tiger, in which they only have less than 10 seconds of the tiger looking good. Think about that. Like literally, they only have footage of this tiger looking good for less than 10 seconds. Where's the rest of the footage? Did the lion really have another fight prior to this? It will definitely explain the blood in its mouth, because again, the tiger didn't do it. And the lion definitely didn't draw blood from the tiger because he didn't bite it, much less he could because he didn't have his bottom canine to properly execute it. So where's this blood coming from? Truth be told, we may never know. But this was simply my theory, no one has to take it seriously, it's my theory. But one thing's for sure, the lion definitely did something prior to this that involves blood. So I want you all to keep that in mind.